I'm here underneath the fire escape at the Crest Fire Escape. What I'm seeing is that this right side looks in pretty good condition. We got a drain here that for any water that accumulates. That's all bronze underneath, and it's a superstructure of steel, but it's like bronze encased, so from underneath it's like a false bottom. But it's starting to accumulate some water somewhere, which I'll identify from above, and that water has already started to eat the bronze below. Not a lot, but enough, especially here by the pivot point. You can see, as the pictures will indicate, exactly what's wrong with it at that point right there. So, everything else looks pretty good. This outside flip arm, this little facade here, that looks like it was an afterthought. That looks like it's not original. It was put on there just to clean up the look. Looks like the bottom of it is probably rotted for the full length. So that's going to need some investigation to take that open that up, and basically identify just how bad the fire escape looks. Otherwise, this side, I don't foresee too many problems with this side of the fire escape. This is the right side of the fire escape. The bronze rail looks very good. The bronze rail over here looks very good. The whole length from both inside and outside, it looks very good. There's some other issues for the rain collectors that I'll identify after, but this thing looks in very good condition. It's aged well. And this is one of those where they may want to consider power washing it minimally, or basically giving it one of those baths that will bring it to the original color and let it start retarnishing, which is going to look very good on this fire escape. Alright, this is the access coming from that unit that is out there with the pulley systems that have the 3/4 cable going down to the cantilever. They come in through this into this thing, which you can't really see, but basically this is inside a little shaft that's in here. You have a little bit of a workspace. If need be, we can open this up. It doesn't look like there's any need to. There's a place to work here. Come in through this window over here. You come in and work over here. Be careful, don't fall into the bar back here, because this is a dangerous space. Maybe put a temporary 2x4 going across this so nobody ever falls into this area, because it's a false ceiling down there. But basically what you have it here, this looks like it's a category that falls into the into an elevator guy. Have an elevator guy come in here. There's some ironwork stuff that can be done here to a certain degree, but pulleys, greasing of the pulleys, and everything on this is going to have to be done by an elevator guy. And we could have the iron guy sort of go once through it, and if he feels that this is beyond his scope of work, he can then push it onto the elevator guy. But he can't throw a number at this, but this it's simplistic in nature, but at the same time, greasing and tuning up this thing is the main case, and verifying that all the cables are in great condition. And they seem to be, because they've never had any weathering, they seem to be in great condition. Once you step back out here, and the only access over here is through this window, so you have to come upstairs. But basically, this piece over here that comes out of the building, it looks like it's in great condition. It's a bronze. The pulleys are all bronze. That's one of the things. They're all bronze. They look like they got little nipples on there for you to put the grease, put a grease gun. Looks like you take those nipples out and you put in regular nipples like you'd have in a car, and then you just would basically squirt grease into them. This side here looks like it's twisted to the right. I think because this cantilever's never had a resting position on that pulley, on that weight thing here, this side seems to be off kilter, probably 3 to 5 degrees. It's still working, but I don't know if that can be readjusted or re-put back. The other thing that I noticed too underneath here, if you go underneath, you'll see that wheel is literally scraping up a little bit on that the thing. It still runs, but I don't know why the tolerance there is only like 1/16, 1/8. I would recheck all this spacing. Anytime you have spacing, I would silicone shut it so that the water can stop getting in there and rusting up. So silicone shut the entire steel, prime and paint accordingly. And then down below, I think it's working fine. I don't think there's anything wrong on this side other than getting the system and the pulleys all re-greased. You're going to get this mechanism to work a lot better. As soon as you put that pivot point rebuilt at that other end, I think a lot of the hang-up is going to start going away, and then whether or not you remove 25 to 50 pounds or add 25 to 50 pounds on this weight system, it should drop. I also talked about having a simple cable crank down there by the start of the stairs that comes along this wall over to here on another pulley system down to the nose, so that if they want to crank the stair back up every time it drops for any reason, but it has to be removed after the fact, after it's been locked into position, and that's only to help bring the thing up. If, in case it gets out of weight, you can use a simple boat crank with a cable that comes along the wall to the nose over here, down to the piece, and then that helps pull it up, and then it locks into position. Okay, we're on the inside of the apartment. I think we're on the third floor. Third floor apartment, which is a complete unit, all finished already. This is the only access hole that we have through somebody's apartment to come in here and adjust the worm. It's a planetary drive that has a chain that ties into cables. It's here that a elevator guy has to come in here and basically grease the planetary drive here, adjust it, make sure it's fine, double check all the connections on this standard weight system that's typical of an elevator system, make sure that the connections are all good, so that will be by an elevator inspector. And again, that has access through the second floor, but over here it's only for, I guess, to remove the weights, because you have some weight systems right there that you can take out and add or remove. There's space there for another 4 to 6 more plates. Looks like they're 1 inch by 6 inch by 16 to 18 inches long. You hit play and then you just start talking. Alright, the fire escape here on the full staircase, several things. A lot of these all these bolts have to be separated out, because you got a bronze tube with a bronze molding to a steel plate underneath, and all this was capturing water, and you got to find out how that is coming and where that water gets out and how it gets out. Otherwise, you have to make it so that it has drain holes, even if drain holes have to be drilled into it, because there's drain holes in the treads, so that water's got to go somewhere. It's getting trapped, and if you don't get rid of it, it's going to do what it's doing right here. It's increasing the water. This whole channel just needs to be taken out. It looks like it's a handmade channel. It's a 4-inch piece of channel. It's got to get dug out, and a new one's got to be built to put into place. But it's needed, or else the water's going to trap differently in between this. You know, standard rebolting, silicone shutting all connections. Over here, all this poop has got to get removed, and he's got to get a special guy with a license for removal of pigeon poop, because of the viruses and the waste that's going to hit the sidewalk. Got to be cleaned professionally, so that there's no liability issues. This fire escape at the top, once we get there to the top, you're going to see that it does have a twist to the left. The 5/8 to 3/4 cables look in great condition. I don't think there's a problem with needing them to be replaced. I think these are perfectly good. Where they tie in here is pretty good. When you go up, all the treads look very, very good. I would still silicone shut all of them in areas that water does accumulate. But once you get up here, you got this little channel, this little trough that drops into the channel. On the other side, it's the little bend that drops into the channel. All these need to be greased all the way down, but they're working now, but the greasing will help. Power wash. This is the emergency problem right here. These have failed. The pins here and the pin on that side has failed. This needs to be all opened, and that pin needs to be reinforced and rebuilt. Otherwise, the back of this cantilever can fall down. I don't see it falling down, but I see at least a 50 to 75% failure rate on the pin back here. The release arm will work perfectly once we get it back on the other side. I believe once you remove the pigeon poop, which is accumulated everywhere, the pigeon poop is what's not letting it go up any higher. And as soon as we get that, also this piece going the length here, it looks like it's bowing in. If you were to put a piece against the building and try to push this out, you might get some ability to push this thing out a little bit, but I don't think you're going to get too much more. And the evidence here with all the scraping shows that something else has been happening here before. It looks like it's got a fake facade that got put on here. We got to find out what that is, see if any water's getting in there, and if it is, all these holes need to be clogged up and closed up so that no more water penetrates into this bronze facade cap. Because if we can at least eliminate that, it'll stop it. I don't think this is structural in nature. This just goes across here because it's offering everything that's structural is that platform back there and this platform back here. So whatever this is, I think it can take a little push without affecting the integrity of this fire escape here. And that piece up there needs to be readjusted. You got a lot of weight on the right side one. It's sort of pulling back because it is at probably a 15-degree diagonal with the with the cables, and it's torquing that one of the pieces over there on the right side that I'm looking at towards me. So that needs to be addressed, because that the fact that this thing doesn't sit on that rest piece over there on the left side, I think has been causing weight to just constantly bend at that piece of steel for its entire life. So as soon as we get this thing to rest on the roller, it's going to give the weight system a rest every time this fire escape is up in the air. We have two issues down here, in that this is a main entrance. This main entrance needs to be maintained. This is how they make their money. So I see no problem with this. If this stays in a down position for anywhere from 24 to 72 hours, I don't see any problem. This place over here, which is the comedy connection, we got to find out what days they're not open, so that way maybe we can coordinate, because you're going to put some legs on this thing to the ground temporarily while that whole thing gets done. Underneath, all this needs to be removed underneath, so that not only can we power wash it for the pigeons, but at the same time put it all back, because you got all kinds of failure bolts throughout, and you got some rot here and there. And, it looks like simple 3/16 metal on this thing, but otherwise a good scrape and paint, good primer, a good top coat, silicone shut all major and minor connections, so that water can't accumulate here anymore, and basically this fire escape should be back into working order. In regards to the release over here, that goes inside the building, and if it goes inside the building, we're going to have to involve an elevator company who's going to come in here and deal with the pulley system. So that's not going to be part of the ironworkers deal. That's going to be part of the elevator company, who's going to make sure that everything is greased, all the cables are strong, because it's an internal shaft, that just like an elevator. So I would put that into their category.